What up, gamers? Frontier here, and welcome back to Gross Frontline 2 Exilium. So, yeah, let's continue here. Bang. The last Elid is shot through the head and topples to the ground, even while it's lunging forward, standing in front of its Vector. It is Vector, who didn't manage to raise her gun in time. Her finger remained still on the trigger. Phew, that was close. Are you okay? Vector straightens up. She curls her fingers and uncurls them again, tentatively. I was unable to move due to some kind of force, but I seem to be okay now. Oh, that's because your stamina bar was down to 0. Man, they even got that too in this game, or in this training that is now a game. Stamina bar? You know, the grayish white thing that you were just asking me about. Any big movement, like jumping, rolling, etc., consumes stamina. If your stamina bar is empty, you won't be able to move and will have to wait for your stamina to recover. I feel like that's interesting. Because I assume these simulations are like VR and stuff, and I feel like in VR, like the only thing that really makes you that would have a stamina system would be just for like running around, right? But yeah, if it makes you freeze like that, then dang, like that's a pretty big I guess debuff. Ahem. To do that, Michti the Prophet suggests you move and kite your enemies while recovering your stamina. Don't make big movements unless you absolutely have to. I see, but how do you define big movements? Any movements other than walking. That doesn't seem very reasonable. Tut tut tut. What are you talking about? This is the essence of this kind of game. Stamina management is the key that sets noobs and pros apart. You still have much to learn, newbie Vector. But in reality, unless there is some kind of malfunction, dolls don't experience such interruptions to their power supply before their battery runs out. That is true. I know they try to gamify this, but I feel like there's got to be some elements of real life to this that need to be kept the same. Like, I think I'm fine with the story and stuff, but I think maybe the gameplay should be kept to like what it was before with the simulation. I can't think of any real benefit this mechanism brings to actual combat in the real world. Well, uh, Michi seems to be devoting a lot of computational power to pondering this question. Her brow furrows deeply. It can reduce unnecessary maneuvers, conserve energy and power. Okay, that's at least something. See, at the end of the day, energy and power aren't infinite. I personally disagree, but I will note this down and let Kukai and the commander be the judge of that. Ugh, we're having too much fun here. Why do you have to keep bringing up the bad ending that awaits me? As they converse, they step over the remains of the Elid and head towards the turnstile. Neither of them notices its almost imperceptible twitch. Oh, that was it. Okay. Let's go to the next part. Yeah, that was like done in like a few minutes. I could have like maybe finished that in the in the previous video if I wanted to, but no, it's fine. With a soft click, Vector and Michti exit the phone booth. Before them lied the familiar weeds and cracked earth. The bloody text "You died" remains hauntingly fresh in their memory. Wait, why are we here again? You return to the last save point only when you die. So clearly, we just died? How? I have no idea. I was talking to you, so I didn't see anything, but something probably ambushed us from behind. Just then, the surveillance camera pipes up while circling around him. Vivi, I saw it! It was the Elid that you shot down. It was feigning death. It was the one who attacked you from behind. Oh, okay. Elid, it feigned death? We've been had. I should have known there would be such sneaky butt moves in this kind of game. Yep. Hang on. Am I being ignorant here? How have you ever seen an Elid that knows how to feign death? I haven't, but that doesn't really rule out the possibility. When it's a matter of life and death, even the poor Elids have to pick up some cunning tricks. If that's true, then all commissions that involves Elids would double in price. This time, it's Walrod who speaks through the camera. Vector, isn't this one of those extreme unlikelihoods that you're so obsessed with? They shouldn't be so far-fetched according to your logic. The derision in Walrod's tone does not escape Vector, but she makes no rebuke. Instead, she pulls up the game interface. We are missing a certain amount of ammo and 531 XP. Is this a system error? Oh nah, it's probably the penalty of dying. Penalty? For dying? Just as we get drops as a reward for killing enemies, if we die, we also lose supplies and XP. But the supplies are usually retrievable at the location of our death. Wouldn't they be seized by the enemies? Huh? That'd be way too infuriating, no? These are the player's hard-earned supplies. If any game implements that, it'll flop real hard as soon as it launches. You know, I never thought about that. Like, because yeah, like, you know, there are games where when you die, it just leaves your supplies there as a penalty, but then no one else takes it. I don't think I ever encountered a game where the enemy takes it. I don't know. Like, you know, recently I just played Hollow Knight, and that's kind of like fresh in my mind. I guess it doesn't really count for Hollow Knight. That's more of like a soul thing. Oh yeah, doesn't Dark Soul do that too? Yeah, I think Dark Soul does that. And yeah, no one else takes it. I'm assuming no one takes the supplies. I never played it. Though it might actually be an interesting gimmick. Yeah, I think so too. Just imagine like finding the person that took your gear. Feels like the game is dragging us around by the nose. Yeah, I totally get what you mean. Sometimes when you just can't beat the game and you're so angry you just want to quit, you'll think to yourself, "Oh, I should at least pick up the loot from before quitting." Then once you've done that, you'll think, "Since I'm here, why don't I give it another go? Maybe I'll beat it this time." Then before you know it, a whole night has passed. So the game is exploiting the player's fear of loss and competitive nature to keep them addictive. Let's go and retrieve our loot and make our way to Ruina Crystallis. I like all the game talk here. Yeah, I like all the game talk. We're back here again. We'll have to be careful this time around. It'll be fine. I know that the Elids here can play dead now. But it's so annoying to have to fight them again. Remember to shoot them once before they go down, to ensure that no Elids are playing dead. Yeah, I've got it. Also conserve your energy too. Then let us begin. Alright. Gotta do this again. Combat start. And I'll let them go all out. Yeah, I do like all the game talk. It's just something that I can really relate to. Yeah, I think Michty is becoming more of my favorite character now. I guess when it comes to personality. Like, I feel like for me, I can definitely have a conversation with her. I don't know, like maybe everyone else in this game. And that is in a casual environment. I feel like if I'm also in this situation where, you know, I'm trying to survive in this world, I feel like maybe Groza would be the one I would like to stick to. I feel like she's the most serious. Maybe even Kukai, maybe. They just seem like the most normal and focused one just to survive in this world. The most like level-headed too. That was close. I was starting to think that I would lose. That was a hard game. That was training. Never mind. Let's go see what else we can take. Okay, I'll have a look over there. Michty and Vector start rummaging through the pile of elites scattered all around for supplies. The search elite corpses disintegrate and fade away. Ammo 63 obtained. Healing potion 10 obtained. Item crystal bracelet obtained. Zone map Ruina Crystallis urban area obtained. New zone unlocked. A cheap bracelet made of inferior crystal fragments. Judging by the description, it seems pretty useless. If it's useless, it's probably an item that's related to the plot. We can't go wrong by keeping it with us. Say, this has been quite profitable. With all the XP, we can level up twice in a row. But we're constantly at risk of losing XP before we find the next save point. You better be wise to not treat them as yours yet, so that you won't feel sorry if you do lose them. What I usually do sometimes if I have like a lot of loot on me, if I do feel like I might lose them, I would just go back to the previous save points and get the XP from there. If you lose them, we can always get back to get them back. It's just a bit of a pain. You can always start again in games. You can always start again. Does that mean you don't always give it your all? Exactly. Oh, no. I always put in an effort. Vector stares at Michty with a look of disbelief. Then all of a sudden, another thought seems to have struck her. If we die again in the process of retrieving our loot, will we be able to still recover the things we are trying to retrieve? I haven't really come across that situation, but speaking from my gaming experience, probably not. I never thought about that before too in Hollow Knight. I was always able to get my soul back. So, I don't know if I'd, die again without getting that soul. Will I lose all the geo then? Like, all the money that I got from the previous life? I never had that situation happen to me yet. And I guess I'll never find out because I'm done with Hollow Knight. Carpsy, is that right? The camera hovering in midair bobs up and down twice. That is indeed the case. I based it on a game with similar mechanics. Basically, you can only recover the things that you last drop. So if your inventory is empty to begin with, you won't be able to recover anything. In other words, players are very likely to end up with nothing at all. Huh? Yeah. If you're not careful, then that's true. An extremely limited amount of save points, save-based recovery, enemy resetting, drops penalty. So far, I find the design and features of this game that are beyond the scope of training a little too harsh and cumbersome. Huh? I was just trying to match the level difficulty to the module. Also, Michty said these were all standard setups for games. Standard setups for games. But I had assumed you would at least consider how to incorporate training into the game, but from what I can see, you have simply shoehorned into a framework without much thought. That's where you are wrong. Suffering is the essence of this sort of mechanism. Only through the trial of hardship does the fruits of victory taste sweeter. I don't have a module installed for ingesting food, thank you. So what else do I not know about the essence of this kind of mechanism? You're missing the points, Vector. You've been approaching this with a negative bias and much reluctance from the get-go. It's only natural that you struggle to experience the fun that I'm trying to explain. You've got to relax. I think you also completely fail to comprehend my concerns. I totally understand them, but since we're here, we should just chill and enjoy the game. You... Victor's brow furrows, then lets out a heavy sigh. Never mind, at least in terms of combat, both the breakouts in the beginning and the ambush we just went through match the settings of the module. There are some things that don't make much sense in other aspects, but they're not impossibly far-fetched. Wow, sounds like you've played some impossibly far-fetched games. I just find it very bizarre that these games demand dolls to behave in a way that follows human physiological habits. Can you explain it in a more understandable way? Basically, back when we were still at Griffin, Ruchi and I took part in a gaming tournament for some monetary reward. The event was quite heavily promoted. I wonder if you remember. Gaming tournament. That does ring a bell. I wonder if that was an actual thing that happened in the first game. and not like just something that happened off screen. I would love to like, if one day if I play the original game, I would love to see that event because it sounds like it would be an event thing rather than a main story thing to me. Apart from dying in combat, players in that game could also die from hunger and hypothermia. That wouldn't be so strange for humans, but we are dolls, so we tend to overlook such problems. And this plugin also incorporates the same mechanism that makes it possible for us to die from the lack of sustenance or low temperatures, then it would make it even more difficult for us to beat the game. Hold on, don't tell me you're talking about the... Is that the Division? Wait, is Division confirmed in this game? There was another one that they mentioned too, right? Oh no, what was the game that they mentioned? Hold on, my screen is acting up. I need to maybe fix it a bit. And they just mentioned the Division here. There was another game I remember before. Did they mention another one here before too? I feel like they made another real-life reference. I don't know if it was a game, but I feel like it was a game. I don't know. Or what was it? Oh no, I kind of forgot. But I feel like they've done this before where they reference real-life stuff. Oh, it was... No, it wasn't a game. It was Disney. I think it was Krolik, right? Was Krolik talking about Disney or something? I think it was Krolik. What? You didn't participate? Nope. I remember, a doll player did actually freeze to death. I think she went by Peak Nyan Nyan Punch. What a tasteful name. Right, we better get going, or the elites will respawn. I like how they censored the Division. Man, that's so funny. I didn't expect to see a game reference here. So yeah, we had Disney, and then the Division. Man, you're right. Then let me check which way we should go. After scrutinizing the map for a while, Vector plots out a serpentine route. Looks like we'll be spending quite some time on the road. The Research Institute and the border terminal are on two diagonally opposite ends of the city. Oh, that's really far. How long will it take for us to get there? Running across the map is always such a chore. Huh? Can't we just travel along the straight line here? Michti points at a straight passage leading to the northwest marked with a dotted line on the map. The mouth of the passage is right ahead of them. Underground transportation hub of Ruina Crystallis? Are you sure? Anything underground always sounds particularly ominous. The value of training is demonstrated in dangerous places. We're not tourists, so what is the point of spending so much time on the road? You're right. It's more important to complete the training. Yeah, that was kind of crazy to see the Division being referenced here. I guess it makes sense, it's... The setting is, I would say, similar, like the apocalypse, with this game here. Yeah, didn't expect to see the Division being mentioned. It's kind of wild to see. Vector and Michti feel their way toward in the gloom of the transportation hub. If we die again, let's not go underground again. According to the map, this is the fastest route to the Research Institute. The route above is too meandering. But at least we're much less likely to get surrounded and brutally killed by enemies in the dark just like just now. Don't you think? I didn't know our night vision was disabled. Our most recent death cost us 1,500 XP, 110 ammo, and 25 healing potions. Okay, so I'm guessing this happened, there's been some time passing here. And they died again. Wow, look at Vector's face. All of our efforts down the drain, just like that. Don't just assume we're definitely gonna die. We've gone through this part before, so we can just counterattack following this enemy's sequence of attack, right? Didn't have you memorize the enemy's sequence of attack? Well, 2 came from straight ahead, then 3 from the left, and 1 from behind? Wrong. There were 2 enemies attacking us from behind. The one who grabbed you crawled up to us on the ground, while the one who attacked me was hanging from the ceiling. Victor feels a doll behind her shiver. That sounded like something right out of a horror game. But since you memorized it, we should be fine, no? There's no telling if we encounter more enemies after that. You're right. Games like this love kicking you when you're down. Seriously, this AI has really gotten the sadism of a certain game devs down pat. Down pat? I'm guessing part. Sadism. Going by your logic, I thought this would also be a so-called essence of these games. It's only an essence after you beat the game. Before that, it's all the dev's sadism. And it's just exhausting. I feel like I've reached a point where I just quit the game and go to sleep. But this is your training. Oh. Victor ignores the reluctance of Michi's voice and continues onward. As darkness hampers her vision, her auditory module becomes exceptionally sensitive. In this cavernous underground transportation hub, even the softest rustle sounds incredibly loud. Victor suddenly comes to a halt, causing Michi to crash right into her back. Ah, that hurt. Why the heck did you stop all of a sudden? Hush, stay quiet and crank up your auditory module sensitivity. Why are you being all secretive? Michi rubs her forehead and does as instructed. A buzzing noise like a flapping of bee wings grows clearer and clearer from ahead. Is it coming from here? Victor places her hand on the wall next to her and feels her way down inch by inch. What? There's a vent here, and the sound is coming from inside. Michi, back up a bit. Huh? Okay. After a burst of gunshots, something plate-like falls to the ground with a clang. The opening should be wide enough. Wait, are you going in there? I want to see what is making that noise. The sound is too rhythmic, which seems suspicious. To prevent us from encountering anything unexpected again while we're on our way to recover the supplies we've lost, we must eliminate all unfavorable conditions in advance. You have a point. This could be a hidden stage or something. Then make it quick. I'll wait here for you. Michi lets out a massive yawn. She seems to have grown tired of being energetic. Have you forgotten who's supposed to complete her training here? I haven't. But what if we wipe in there? All our worldly possessions will get swallowed by the system again. That's why I told you not to think of them as yours. If we wipe, we'll just start again. We can restart again however many times we want since it's a game, right? Wow, I can scarcely believe Vector actually said something so reckless. I'm just doing my best to comprehend your idea of fun. After turning a few bends along the ventilation duct, the two dolls' vision becomes clearer and clearer as their eyes capture a little bit of light. At last, they reach the other end of the ventilation duct. Vector dislodges the metal plate by force, and the light floods their vision. What the heck? Is this back in the Elmo? Metal buckets and storage boxes are all scattered around the space, which is neither big nor small. Several switches are mounted on the walls, and several generators are locked behind metal fences on either side of the passage. This is a generator room? But these generators aren't running, so where is the power coming from? And what is that mechanical sound? Could it be that? Vector looks towards where Michi is pointing and sees an electric cable traveling down the wall and across the passage. The cable is connected to a glass container device. A sparkling crystal is suspended in the glass container, slowly rotating while emitting a rhythmic buzz. That's just as they make to approach, the sound of a glass container crashing into the ground suddenly comes from behind them. They quickly dart behind a pillar to raise their weapons. The person who has suddenly appeared behind them is currently grabbing their own face with both hands, looking utterly terrified. What? TMP? I've been spotted. Is that Harpsy? It is Harpsy. The hovering camera wobbles in the air as if in protest, but it makes no sound. Spotted lab rats will be eaten. What should I do? What should I do? The NPC named TMP appears to be in a state of extreme panic. She keeps pacing around the pillar and the passage manically. Then all of a sudden, she stops. Phew, I need to calm down and think. Alright, I have to find the anywhere door. If I find the anywhere door, I'll be able to leave. She looks around. Her face lights up in a glee. angrily as her gaze lands on one of the storage boxes. Found it! CMP steps right into the box and closes the lid above her head in one fluid movement. Ah. Vector strides forward and flings the lid open. A scream that sounds almost like a groundhog immediately comes from within the box. Ah, I got found again. I am getting eaten. Ah, it's so loud. My auditory module. Vector, do something. As the scream persists in the background, two choices once again appear before the two dolls. A. Close the box and let her calm down. B. Use item. Crystal bracelet. So this is where you can use it. Victor taps the icon of the crystal bracelet on her watch and confirms that she would like to hand over it to Harpsy, who bears the name tag TMP above her head. I'm getting eaten, I'm getting... Oh, that's... The bracelet icon in TMP's hand materializes into an actual bracelet. At the sight of the bracelet, the girl's panic is immediately replaced by joy. You're okay, Oliver. Oliver, you are the very picture of health. I'm so glad that you didn't get eaten by monsters. Now we can get out of here. Make sure you hold onto my hand and don't let go. CP puts a bracelet on her wrist fastidiously, then gives it to the two dolls in solemn bow. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing Oliver. Sorry for mistaking you for scary monsters. Oliver was all I had before becoming a lab rat. We loved going on treasure hunts in the city. Oliver said we were just picking up trash, but I often found treasures. Sounds like a scavenger, but what's the deal with this? Lab rat business. Then one day, someone told us that he could offer us unlimited food and a safe place to live, but in exchange, we must do him a small favor by trying out some colorful candy and drinks. We agreed, so that person let us stay in the cage with lots of other lab rats like us. They were all covered in sparkly crystals, so pretty. Oh yeah, that's it. Wow, thank goodness it didn't break. The jar is surprisingly sturdy. CP picks up the glass container with the crystal lying by her feet and lifts it up for them to see. He said this crystal is super useful. It generates heat and power and can do anything. When I left the cage, I took some with me. As a gesture of my gratitude, I'll give you this. You can also take all these. Their watches ping with notifications. Collapsed crystal 3 obtain. Crystal powered flashlight obtain. A 1 obtain. Item broken pocket watch obtain. This is all the treasure I have on me. Oliver and I will be resting here for a bit. Until next time, kind strangers. After delivering her lines in rapid fire mode, CP falls silent. Wow, she came, she monologued, she scrammed. What a perfect NPC. Utterly no nonsense. Whatever. The case this... Vector waggles the flashlight in her hand. Shows that we can hand in plot-related items to NPCs in exchange for items that can help us along the way. The broken pocket watch probably also has its uses, but there's no guarantee it will run into the right NPC. Don't overthink it. We'll encounter them when the time is right. At least we have a light source now. We won't be so easily ambushed by elids that jump us from the shadows like before. But we won't necessarily beat them, even if we can see. One step at a time, I suppose. Now let's go get our stuff and continue on to the city. Okay, we got a battle here now. I can finally see clearly. Blah! So many enemies lying in ambush. All units be cautioned and take care to not be ambushed again. Whoa, who's that? That enemy seems pretty dangerous. Maybe we should gang up on it? Agreed. Now that's what I call a tacit understanding between members of a fraternity. Yeah, that was a interesting robot. Never really seen that before. Is it the Weeding Scholar? What the heck is that? Which one is it? Production Expert? It looks interesting. I thought about fighting it manually, but this seems to be like a normal, like minion type enemy. So I'll just let it auto battle. Yeah, even though the story, like, it doesn't seem that dangerous, it still feels very, like, entertaining still, with all the game talk. Like, yeah, I don't really feel any, like, threat. Like, there's no, like, doomsday type feeling that I'm getting from this whole thing. Like, maybe unlike some other stories that they had here. Because, you know, it's all, like, in the game. I mean, it's not like, you know, Sword Art where they, you know, if they die in here, they die in real life. It's not like that in here. With the help of the flashlight, the two dolls promptly dispatch the invaders in the transportation hub and recover their loot. Watching their XP bar slowly grow, Michi lets out a long exhale. Phew, I'm kinda in the mood again. Something's not right. Huh? I recovered less than 2/3 of my previous XP. I also have fewer supplies than before. What about you? Um, I don't really see much of a difference. On top of the loot, I have a feeling that something important is missing. Something important? It's all seemingly the data here, so you shouldn't lose anything. If you lost some important neural logs, your neural module would also flag it. That's true. But I'm absolutely certain that this isn't all the loot. Could it be a bug? Bugs are pretty common in games. Just ask Harpsy for a patch update. Harpsy, can you take a look? Sure thing. Leave it to me. While you're at it, also check the surveillance connection. Your voice is getting fuzzy. Okay. When they finally emerge from the underground transportation hub, the sunlight is so strong that Michi has to squint her eyes. We're finally out of that dark and miserable place. So this is the city proper of Ruina Crystallis. It doesn't seem all that different from the satellite cities we've visited before. The image is taken from our neural logs after all, but there are differences. Look over there. There are colorful glass pipes of varying thicknesses and lengths as far as the eye can see. Some of them lie under overtuned floor tiles, some poking out of broken walls, while others are completely exposed outside. Most of them are cracked and broken, like icicles piercing the city. I wonder what these colorful glass pipes are for. This must be the crystal pipe explosion or whatnot that the NPC Ruchi mentioned. Crystal pipe. Ruchi. While Vector is still deep in thought, a mellow voice speaks up from behind. Oh, what the heck? Andorus. G36K, KSK. Those are crystal pipes, therefore transmitting crystal energy. Andorus? Andorus, who has appeared behind them at some point, clasps her hands and blinks, her lips curl into a prim smile. Ever since people discovered how to convert collapsed crystals into energy, the city began laying pipes made of this special material on a large scale to transmit energy to every corner of the city. The city was therefore named Ruina Crystallis, and the pipes were also named crystal pipes. These rainbow-like crystal pipes were essentially the arteries of the city. Right, are you crystal hunters? Crystal hunters, no. You managed to reach the city proper. You may not be crystal hunters, but you are no ordinary people either. Okay, so that's interesting too. So, I thought they only respond to the dialogue. Like they would just have their own dialogue to say, and then they choose from two choices, but it seems like they would respond to, I guess like the players here, which is Michi and, I forgot her name, Vector. We're nothing extraordinary either. We're actually guardians. Guardians? Impressive. No wonder you suffered no injuries on your journey here. Well, that's not entirely... What is it, Vector? Feeling a tug on her sleeve, Michi looks back at Vector. Don't you think there's something strange about her? Strange? Yeah, you're right. It's like talking to Andorus in the flesh. That's not what I mean. Have you noticed our interactions with the other NPCs are done through multiple choice questions? Here we go, okay, so I was not crazy, I was actually onto something there. Because yeah, she was able to respond to us when we said that, you know, we're not crystal hunters and stuff. Because I thought maybe the only dialogue that we can do with them is through the, you know, the dialogue tree. You know, the multiple choice stuff. Anyways, whereas she's able to converse with us freely? Maybe it's just a fluke and her pre-scripted response matched the conversation. Let me try again. Michti clears her throat. Ahem, Andorus. My name is G36K KSK. Dang, she actually registers what we're saying. She's different from the previous NPCs. We better be careful. And who are you? I am a mercenary dispatched to Ruina Crystallis to search for and rescue survivors. You're here on your own? I came with a company, but the intelligence we received was inaccurate. The number of invaders drawn here by the leaked crystal energy far exceeded our expectations. Out of the whole company, I'm the only one left. G36K KSK frowned slightly. I'm trying to gather as much of my companions' possessions as I can, just to give some closure to their families. The two dolls fall silent as they return to her resolute gaze. Something just feels off. Have you got any ideas? Not really. It's too much of a pain to think. I just want to get this over with and get some rest before Kukai comes back. Have the motivational effects of this gamification thing worn off already? Well, even a gamer girl would get bored after playing for so long. Kukai? No, nothing. You're gathering your fallen companion's possessions, you say. Have you found anything yet? No, it's like trying to find needles in a haystack. Possessions. As Vector ponders this, she suddenly thinks of the broken pocket watch. Maybe you could take a look at this. Vector taps her watch to give the broken pocket watch to G36K KSK. Light particles gather to form a physical object in G36K KSK's palm, an actual pocket watch. This is... She opens the pocket watch with great care, and her eyes swell up with tears. This belonged to a friend. Thank you. G36K KSK turns the open pocket watch to show Michti and Vector what's inside. Oh, what the heck? That's the other girl. A photo is engraved on the inside of the cover. The subject with blonde hair and green eyes glare at them with scornful eyes. I wonder how her name was Wellrod, right? How does she feel about her role in this? About, like, maybe, I'm guessing, being dead here. It's Wellrod. Victor eyes the hovering camera with some trepidation. It's for the plot. I hope she doesn't mind too much. Thank you. This is probably the only thing I will be able to find. I don't have anything to give you in return for the favor. Huh? Nothing at all? Huh. I thought we'd gain some kind of new skill or some amazing items, like an armor of revival or something like that. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't have any armors of revival, but I could join you and lend you my strength. Support character G36KSK has joined the group. Here we go. We got a follower, man. Dude, this story is fun. I like it. Holy crap. This can happen? I suppose the support character is an NPC that assists players in combat? Bingo! 10 points to Vector. Fabulous. Now someone will fight in my stead. Huh. Though I wonder if this Andorus also crashes very easily. You shouldn't rely on her too much whether she's prone to crashes or not. You've got to complete the training on your own merit. Don't worry. Support NPCs are only there to balance out the game difficulty. Vector peers at the smiling G36KSK, then at Michti, who is looking around with excitement and frowns. She tries to suppress the sense of disquiet she's feeling, and looks down to consult the map. We're still some distance away from the research institute. I hope nothing will go wrong. Oh, that's it. Yeah, dude, we got a follower, man. Oh, what? Look at that. I'm guessing a story note is next, since we couldn't continue there. How far are we, by the way? Guess we'll find out here very soon. Oh, we got ways to go still. Okay. VS11. Let's go. But yeah, if this goes too long, I might just, end it in the middle of it and do a skip. They'll maybe claim that reward from this. While Harpsy is focused on checking the codes on the terminal, Wilrod and Ruchi are watching the surveillance feed from level 2 on a monitor. At the sight of her own portrait of the deceased, Wilrod crosses her arms and scoffs in distaste. Uh, don't let it bother you. Harpsy said as much. It's all randomly generated. You saw how odd I was. Don't be ridiculous. You think I'd be bothered by that poor, facsimile of me? I'm actually more curious about who's behind the design that made me exist in big data in such a disrespectful way. You're totally stamping your feet, yet you still won't admit you're angry? Don't worry, Vivi and the rest of us won't tease you about it. Who's scared of being teased? Ahem. All I'm saying is that the random function of the plugin could use some optimization. Oh. What is it now? Huh. They got killed by invaders again. Wirral turns around and snickers when she sees the "you died" on screen. Our poor players. One constantly hesitates out of cowardice. The other is lazy and complacent. This outcome couldn't be more predictable. Huh? But I think they're already working really hard. No, something's wrong. Harpsy's muttering interrupts the conversation. A bout of frantic typing follows. Ruchi and Wilrod exchange a look, then walks up to Harpsy. What is it, Harpsy? What's wrong? There's some kind of anomaly in the data. The code that determines the drops is a bit different from what I wrote. It got overwritten. Oh, so that's why they didn't recover all the loot? But who would overwrite the code? I don't know. Harpsy's input triggers a pop-up windows on the screen, each bearing a large red cross that flashes continuously. Even Ruchi and Wilrod, who know little about programming, can tell that this means that Harpsy's attempt to overwrite the code has failed. I can't do it. The editing permissions are completely locked. I can't make any changes. Who on the outside could possibly bypass my access permissions? Dear? No. Could it be a virus? But I was connected to any external network when developing and running the program. What if, like, in a way, because, it could be, I'm sure there's like a third party here. There is like an outside force. But what if it's like the commander? They're like just pretending to leave, but actually they're the ones behind the scene with like Deer, actually. But it could be like a real threat. Who knows? I'm not even sure. Like, since maybe one of them figured out that this would happen where it would turn it into a video game, you might as well just mess with them. But yeah, it could be a real threat, but I can definitely see like the commander or Deer or Klukai just messing around with them, maybe. I don't know. Don't let these distractions befuddle you, Harpsy. I think it's time for the two dolls, lost in their fantasy of playing Guardians, to wake up from their dream. Alright. I'll contact them and tell them to disconnect from level 2 right away. Harpsy clicks the comms button on the terminal, but the error pop-up appears on the screen again. Comms are jammed. Jammed? Anything else out of the ordinary? Let me see. Harpsy types away on her keyboard as rows upon rows of text scroll down the terminal screen. Harpsy knits her brows. The drops aren't the only thing that got overwritten. Even the neural data. Neural data? Every time they die, they lose a certain portion of their neural data. The data flow is untraceable. It could be some kind of virus. At this rate, the virus will completely take over the neural modules. What? Stay calm, will you? Don't sabotage yourselves by panicking. Harpsy, can you handle this virus? I don't know. I tried to trace it, but the virus is probably capable of hiding its tracks, so I couldn't. I can't issue the command to terminate the program either. What should we do? Unfortunately, panicking won't help you trace the data flow either. Calm down, Harpsy. You are one of the creators of this module and plugin. No one knows it better than you. Well, to be fair, Deer probably knows it better than me, but if he asked Deer to help, Klukai would also find out. Then I... The cat ears on Harpsy's head droop instantly, probably at the thought of Klukai. I know Kukai is scary, but Vivi and Michi's safety is more important here. I know. It's not like I don't care about their safety, I just... Seeing that Harpsy is on the verge of tears, Wilrod bends down and rests her hands on Harpsy's shoulders. She looks directly into her eyes. If you're certain you can't solve this issue on your own, then get in touch with Deer. Taking responsibility is indeed a daunting prospect, but remember, you are not alone. Wilrod's firm hands may have steadied Harpsy's nerves a little. She tries to collect herself and nods frantically. Sorry, Harpsy. I was also a bit beside myself, so I just blurted that out without thinking. No, I shouldn't keep hesitating. Alright, save the self-reflection for later. Now let's get moving. Wilrod claps her hands. Harpsy, contact Deer. Ruchi, send a message to Commander and Klukai to explain the situation. Fessing up ourselves should spare us from the worst of the storm. Okay. Got it. Oh, that was it. Oh, that was really fast. Okay, I guess we'll do a bit of the next one here. Okay. Yeah, we're at 6 now. 1-6. Yeah, very interesting with the story, man. What? There's a battle? Okay. I guess I'll just let it play out for a bit. And then we'll spend like the last few minutes like doing whatever. Okay. I'm gonna go for it, guys. Yeah, so I'm just wondering if it is like an outside force, like an actual real threat. Or like, you know, because I feel like this whole thing is to, like with the commander, like he's been critiquing their teamwork, right? I'm just wondering if this is all like part of the plan. I'm sure that's wrong. I'm sure like what I'm saying, like my theory is wrong. But I would love a surprise, you know? I'm trying to think of a surprise to the story here. At first it felt, you know, very filler, but I think it might be a real, like, threat. And when I say filler, I mean like more of a, you know, just a story that I feel like won't have much effect on the main one. Maybe very little progress to the main story, but I think now, if it is a real threat, this might actually be a part of the bigger picture here. Michi takes in the defeated enemies all around her and expresses her heartfelt admiration. Some had fallen head first into the pit, while others are hanging on the guardrails. Ooh, such ruthless firepower, such agility, and the ferocity of one doll army. Have I pulled an SP version of some SSR unit? I'm actually recording this, like pretty much right after the whole Nikkei thing. Like, I think part 12 of my whole live stream of that game. And yeah, I did get an SSR unit. It's funny how she talks about that. You flatter me. I am simply performing my duty. She's even as gentle as Andorus. Isn't she too perfect? Not that there's anything wrong with the actual Andorus. Just leave all the combat to me. Wow, I've been waiting for so long, and someone finally says this to me. This is indeed the dependable junior that I've long dreamed of. Not that I'm complaining about the actual Belka and Andorus. Vector looks at Michi, who is hanging onto G36K KSK like a rucksack, with a hint of helplessness. Are you planning to make her carry you the whole way? What's the problem? It's not like walking is part of the game or training. I think a chewing out by Kukai is inevitable at this point, but if she sees you like this through the surveillance recording, it's just a matter of a 500-shot drill turning into a 800-shot drill. Quantitative changes often leads to qualitative change. She may start tormenting you by targeting your precious collection instead. Suddenly, remembering her large collection of special edition manga and merch, Michi lets go of G36K KSK demurely. Kukai is away, but she still stalks me like my own shadow. Huh. Alright, let's go and retrieve our loot. Which, yeah, we'll do next time, guys. We're at our 50-minute limit. But yeah, the story now is getting a bit more interesting. I'm just wondering what this virus is, or if there's an outside force. But we'll see. Maybe it is the commander and Deer and Klukai, just to like teach them a lesson about teamwork or whatever. I'm sure there's a way to do that, or it could be a real threat that is part of the main story of this game. So yeah, that'll be for now, guys. That's game.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good